Bila hiyo maandamano. It is contempt of the people of Kenya. It's contempt of the political parties that they belong to, and I think it is important that we also say this. Mimi ninaitwa madhahuria na ni sawa sawa, nakubali. Sufuria kama haina chakula, maandamano. Sufuria kama haina chakula, maandamano. Sufuria kama haina mchara, maandamano. I believe that we cannot stop maandamano, and Baba, and I also plead with you among others, maandamano tuendelee, tukae na hawa watu kama watakaa chini tusikizane na hawa. Na ninakubaliana na mambo ya kausho. Jamani, hawa watu walileta ujinga Mount Kenya. Unaenda kusema pale technical discussions kwa TV, wewe unaonekana peleka ujinga kwa wao. That is the only thing they understand. In discussions, in everything that you do, ujinga ndio itatoa hawa. They are trying to make use of us in a bad way. I want to thank you for your commitment to this cause. Tafadhali tuendelee, and I want to make an appeal to Mount Kenya leaders now. Fuata wairia, kujeni tufanye hii kazi, usichelewe. If Mount Kenya people had come out in the demonstrations that we had in the last 2 weeks, toka huyu jamaa atakibia kama siafu. Asante.
Makofi kwa Bwana Kioni. Asante sana. Kabla sijaleta mama aongee nasi, alete baba. Tuko na ndugu yangu kutoka kule Western. Yeye ndiye amekuwa mkubwa wa magavana wote Kenya, mimi nikiwa waziri wa ugatuzi, na kuna jambo ambalo amekuwa anahimiza sana, mambo ya devolution. Na unataka tukubaliane na the civil society. One of the issues you have raised here ni kwamba Kenya Kwanza haitambui ugatuzi na haina haja na ugatuzi.
Don't turn our country to nchi ya wakosa adabu. Refer to people in a proper way. Show maturity and leadership, not immaturity and conmanship. Let the people go. Let Kenyans go from the clutches of evil, from the clutches of injustice, and let the social justice that is being demanded here today thrive. My sister Caroline, I wouldn't worry about Kanchori's book because he is giving his truth as he sees it. One may dispute a section or another, but there is no doubt that the young man is Azimio blood and that he did his work when he was sent to do. Let us allow open debate on issues, even when you do not agree 100% with what people say. Without much ado, allow me to call our leader, His Excellency Raila Odinga.
Hey. Hamjambo. Asasi za kijamii, hamjambo. Comrades power. Comrades power. Asanteni sana, you may be seated. Think you know, you have sat for a long time. And therefore, after sitting for so long, the other process sets in. Now, the biggest disadvantage, speaking at last, that everything else has been said. So you now find yourself just dealing with the dregs. But let me first begin by thanking members of the civil society, members of the university fraternity, and our students for coming here in such large numbers. We decided that we have been talking too much sometimes to ourselves, that today we want to be listeners. Let us sit down and listen to the people, and you have not disappointed. Those who had opportunity to talk have not disappointed. And we take it that those who have spoken is a representative sample of this audience which was here today. And therefore, I'm going to just tell you what we ourselves had agreed as leadership of Azimio to be our common position. This is not just my stand, it is the Azimio leadership stand. And then I will finish by just saying a few things at the end of it. Okay? But here, as Ongwen said and Eugene has remembered, we are in holy grounds here at Ufungamano House. Many, many ideas have come from this holy place, which have actually contributed to change of lives of the people of our country. Ufungamano, sometimes we remember with nostalgia where we came from. Eugene has told you we used to be here with our parents who have since left us. And they told us how they actually themselves organized themselves to fight against colonialism and how independence was achieved. At that time, Kenya was facing one of the most entrenched dictatorships in our history. But we were able to basically tame that dictatorship. So nothing is impossible with the people power. If the people are determined, there's nothing that can stop them from achieving what they want to achieve. Over the decades, this venue has become synonymous with our quest for a more perfect nation. Each time we have taken a stand here, the nation has overcome confusion, doubts, and fear, and taken a stand for the better. Although we have held deliberations here that shaped our nation, none has taken place under circumstances as worrying as is the case currently. Kenyans have never had to struggle this hard to put food on the table or take their children to school. Even the civil servants have never gone without pay up to the 13th of the month. When we held frequent meetings at this venue in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, we aimed to end the single-party rule and give ourselves a new constitution. As we meet today, both the multi-party democracy and the constitution we fought for are under attack. Our electoral system is under attack, and all the work that we have done in creating the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission and introducing the use of technology into our elections are clearly going to waste. Despite the Constitution that calls for inclusivity in public affairs, the professional civil service that we have tried to build since independence is being dismantled through tribal appointments and sackings. It seems to be the fate of this country that each time we are on the ascendancy, something happens to pull us backwards, and it always begins with elections. The election of 2007 pushed us to the brink, wiped out a thriving economy, and broke the ties that had held Kenya together for decades. This election of 2022 and the regime that emerged from it may be the most regrettable thing to have happened in our country's history. The failures they have recorded in a mere 6 months including a record of high cost of food and a collapsing economy, should be enough warning that we have to act quickly and decisively. We have been told, and I quote, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Read also good women, unquote. Our presence here underscores our refusal to be the good people who did nothing and allowed evil to triumph in our country. Something fundamental must give this time round. Otherwise, we could lose a whole country. Our wish is to achieve the overhaul of our state of affairs with the involvement of the people from all segments of our society at every stage. We will engage in the bipartisan process to which we have sent very able and competent representatives. But the people must not be left out or behind. We are not going into this dialogue for deals in smoke-filled rooms. We are going into this to secure and safeguard fundamental life and death gains for the people and the country. Throughout the talks, we expect the people to stand on guard and ensure it's about them and the country. That's why we are gathered here today, so that people can consult and engage and be watchful. We must refuse to be party to the subterfuges of the past that are glossed over and compromised on fundamental issues for expediency. Something fundamental must give this time round, but only if the people stay engaged. We are not going into this to be rubber stamps. One of the things that has clearly been on display ever since these past 6 months is that Kenya Kwanza is a regime of rubber stamps. Subsidies are being removed from food, fuel, electricity, and school fees, exposing people to suffering, and Kenya Kwanza rubber stamps it as okay. They know there was an order for the opening of the IB servers, but the rubber stamp is as okay the refusal to open the servers. They know the buying of MPs to switch sides undermines our hard-won multi-party democracy, but they still rubber stamp it as okay. People are being appointed to and sacked from the civil service on tribal lines, but Kenya Kwanza rubber stamps it as okay. You have not agreed to participate in the bipartisan process to be another rubber stamp for Kenya Kwanza. That has to be understood from the outset. Should the talks falter or bear no fruit because of the grandstanding, lack of openness, lack of honesty, and intransigence In the end, the product have died. Last week, I visited Kenyans in hospitals, Bagathi Hospital and Kenyatta Hospital. Young people shot by the police. Their only crime was that they were participating in a demonstration which was illegal because the police had been notified. A young man in Kisumu was knocked by police as a police officer. That young man who was knocked in Kisumu, just for the understanding of everybody around here, is my nephew. Actually, not my nephew, my grandson. Actually, not my nephew, my grandson. My niece. His mother. I'm the one who recruited him to take him to the police. I'm the one who actually recruited him to take him to the police. Then they go and arrest innocent people. Then they go and arrest innocent people murder and charge them with murder. The other Kenyans, journalists, just basically accompanying us when we were demonstrating, have been shot, some of them very seriously wounded by the police. Nothing has happened. So we have said as Azimio that we are going to take this matter to the highest court in the world. Already our lawyers are working on this, and we are going to take the particulars of all those police officers who have been involved in deliberate shooting and killing or maiming innocent Kenyans to a court which is outside our jurisdiction as a people, to ensure that justice is achieved. But they can come with live bullets. They can come with bombs. We will go and confront them in the name of the Lord and the God of Kenya. And we are sure, like the biblical David will confront Goliath, and we know what will happen to Goliath. So we, therefore, want to thank all of you for coming. Tunatoa shukrani sana kwenu kwa kutualika sisi kama wanazimio kuja kusikia. Tumesikia yale mnayosema yote na tutayabeba. Lakini vile tunasema Wakenya hawezi kutishwa. Wakenya watasimama imara. Wakenya wataendelea. Sasa tumekubali mazungumzo ziendelee. Lakini mimi nakubaliana na pendekezo ambayo imetoka hapa siku ya leo. Ati mazungumzo yaendelee. Mazungumzo yaendelee na maandamano sambamba. Dawa ya moto ni? Dawa ya moto ni? Kwa hivyo sisi tutaendelea. Tutaendelea. Sitaendelea. Tutatangaza. Na mtaitika. 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 Tulikuwa naimba namna hii. Nikiitwa nitaitika. Nikiitwa nitaitika. Nikiitwa nitaitika. Kupambana kwa Afrika. Oh, kupambana. Kupambana, kupambana kwa ukombozi. Oh, kupambana, kupambana, kupambana kwa ukombozi. Azimio. Azimio. Asante sana.
Niombe sote tusimame kwa wimbo wa taifa utakaoashiria mwisho wa hafla yetu ya siku ya leo. Kofia zisizo rasmi niombe zisalie kuvuliwa. Wimbo wa taifa.
these elections were held